What are we going to do today? My name is Sasha. Some of you know me. Some have been in the international exchanges that our organization has hosted in Baltrum, in Hague, and Cologne. I'm an educationalist by profession, so I never studied computer sciences, and I never had any official Excel or spreadsheet class to learn. But I've been using this stuff since 25 years in lots of projects. And meanwhile, I've maybe become kind of an expert. At least I know what it takes to use spreadsheets in an efficient way to manage projects and to get our organization running. I will get to a little demo later showing what kinds of things we are doing in our organization with Google Sheets. I started working with Excel, but then I found out that Google Sheets is just as powerful, maybe even better. Maybe you also know Google Docs. So there, I would say Microsoft Word is still like 30% better than Google Docs. But in Sheets, it's different. Google Sheets is really, really good. And it's free. If you're a nonprofit organization, you can get Google Workspace for nonprofits. That's also free. And it has some data privacy advantages over the regular Google Drive. So if you get that, you can make it compliant with GDPR, the official EU laws for privacy. What I would do today is first we will do a short introduction. You can maybe say a few words about you and what is your experience with spreadsheets, if any. I don't want to do stuff that's boring for most, so let's try to find something that's interesting for everyone. Then I'll show you a bit of how we use Google Sheets in our organization, from financial accounting to cooking to planning. And then we will get into a part where you will create your own sheets and maybe do a small calculation of some activity, some workshop, maybe something that you're actually planning to do. And there will be 2 follow-up sessions. And there we will get into deeper stuff like working with conditional formatting, working with data validation, which sounds abstract, but can be really helpful to organize artistic projects. So maybe just a very quick introduction. Who are you? Your name and pronouns. What are you doing in your life? And what is your experience with spreadsheets, if any? What is your interest to learn here? Noemi, I hand the microphone over to you. Yeah, thanks to everyone. So we have a wide range of people from Austria, from Greece, from Italy, from Germany, and a wide range of experience from people who are doing quite some stuff apparently already with Google Sheets or Excel, and people who have done it many years ago and only have a slight memory. Before I will invite you to work on something, I made a shared folder and we will use it in like 10 minutes. I will show you a bit of stuff, what we are doing with Google Sheets in our organization. And for this, I will try to share my screen. Do you see my screen? Yes?
Yes, yes.
So we are a rather small group. If you have any questions, just open your microphone and interrupt me. It should work with this size of group. Shout, scream, do whatever it takes. You can, of course, also lift your virtual hand or something, but don't hesitate to interrupt me. If you have questions, if you don't understand, if you think I'm talking bullshit, just interrupt. I'm showing you some stuff that we are doing. So let's see if I can make this a bit more full screen. Is this large enough? Can you read stuff or should I make it bigger? Maybe I can put it maybe 25% more, then it's a bit more large. So this is one thing that we use a lot. This is our participant list thing. And we developed that with EU funding to be also usable for others. So this is a template that's officially online for anyone to use. And we've developed it at Roots Cologne mostly. And this is a participant list for any kind of Erasmus exchanges. So what you do here is you put in some information about which organizations are in, what is the name of the project, when does it actually run, start to end, who is hosting it, and then you can put in your participants. And of course, since data protection, we don't have actual participants in there, but some people from the Star Wars universe. And you see, we have here the first names, and we have the sending organizations, family names. And here we already get into formulas. So if people write in here something, so maybe Mon Mothma's second name is Anna, then I have a formula here that automatically will add that Anna to there. We also have something here that suddenly become orange. Why is it orange? Because we have an intelligent formula in here that tells us if somebody has birthday in the project. And I think it's always like not all cultures celebrate birthdays, but many people feel appreciated when they're in a project and the project management knows it's their birthday and have a little cake prepared at midnight or something. So we thought it's helpful to have this in our tool. As you see here, our start and end dates are July 12 to 29, and anyone who has birthday in this time, like July 27, will become orange in here. So maybe if I would put this person here also, maybe birthday is actually also in July, doesn't become orange when it starts on 12. So that's too early. Maybe actually that person has birthday on 14th of July. Bams, it becomes orange. So what else do we collect in here? We collect pronouns, email addresses, full addresses. Here again in the gray fields, we can have a formula that combines. And if you don't know Excel or Google Sheets, up here we have a bar that always shows what's inside a cell. So if I go on a certain cell, here the formula will appear, and we will get to formulas later, but this one basically says if this one is empty, then nothing, and if there's something, then combine the city and the street together with the comma in the middle, and that's what the formula then does. So whatever I put here, maybe that person doesn't actually live in Firenze, but in, I don't know, in Siena, then this automatically also goes here. So the formula, we can put in if what people eat, and we can put in when do they arrive and when do they depart. This is also important. So birthday calculation works on that, but also we have here age on arrival. This is very important for funded projects often because they have limits, which not all, but if you have kind of Erasmus youth work funding, you have limits of acceptable ages. And so you can see without having to calculate yourself, is this the birthday? And the person is arriving to the project on 12th of July. Are they arriving young enough? So this is just for collecting data. I can share this sheet with our partner organizations and tell them, please put your data in there and try not to mess up the sheet. So now maybe I want to assign these persons to bedrooms. So I have a sheet here, rooms, and here I can give the rooms numbers and say how many beds are in each room. So if you have people in a hotel, it's of course not a problem, but if you organize something where you book a full house with sleeping rooms, you can use this. And here this is not the general version of the sheet. Here I put in a specific house, the Baltrum one that we use for our Baltrum projects. Anna has been there. Anybody else? Aris has been there. So these are the rooms in Baltrum with their numbers. And here I have how many beds they have. And now I can go into the participants and say, yeah, well, maybe I want to put this person from Florence in room 1 and maybe together with a person from Greece and maybe together with a person from Germany. So that's 3 on room 1. And then here I see the names are there. It says 3 beds, 3 taken, 0 free. Rather practical if you want to be sure that no room has more people than there are actually beds in there. Now I get here an export list that tells me about accommodation. Previously, I told the system, okay, this person is a vegan, that person is a vegetarian, that person eats everything, including meat, and they arrive on that date and leave on that date. And so I get here for every meal on every day, I get the info, how many people are there, and they are basically there all the time, but maybe somebody leaves earlier. like Cassian Andor is notoriously known for leaving earlier. He goes 2 days earlier because he has to do a saber fighting exam. So now on the list here, I see I always have 17 here, 11 people who eat everything. Starting from this meal, it becomes less automatically. And we will later see we also use this to plan our actual food. Now, the system also makes an Erasmus list for me. So I have the predefined layout of the German National Agency for Erasmus. If you don't want it to be the German National Agency because you're doing the project with Greek National Agency money, you can just throw that out. It gives me a warning. I shouldn't change this, but I still want to. You can put your own logo in there or whatever. So this thing is automatically filled with all the data that I have, and nobody needs to copy paste it anymore or something. And I can generate a PDF from it rather easily if I just say print this. And now it has lots of empty lines at the end. But if I say just take the selected stuff, then it is perfectly layouted 3 pages with all the data. The head, I can tell it here to repeat the fixed lines. Sorry, I could have switched my Google to English, but that's quite a complicated process, and we will mostly just use commands that are in English. So the menu is in German, but it will be repeat fixed lines in your language in your Google Sheets. So I rather easily can export nicely layouted lists from this one. And what is the main selling point for if you want to present this to other organizations? You can also get this big list that you need to report your Erasmus projects in the Erasmus system. So we analyzed how does their system work. We exported their sheets, and then we made we mocked up their sheet in our system. So automatically all the participant data is entered in there, and then you can just save it and upload it into the Erasmus reporting system, which saves quite some hours of work because the Erasmus database is extremely slow if you have to type in everything by hand there. So this is what I have in the participant list. There's some more stuff, like you can also export lists for youth passes, or you can make a list for the group where you have just the email and the phone contact list. You can also do stuff like credits if you're making something where you want all the names. Here you have all the names, comma separated, and I can copy them and paste them into some whatever Word document where I want to make my credits, or directly into Premiere or Final Cut or something. And stamps, there I have all the names, comma separated. And if somebody has made the check in the participant list saying, please use only my artist name in the credits, then it will be only the artist name, which sometimes happens that people don't want their real name to be public. So there's only artist name in credits. And Cassian Geron Andor has chosen this option. So let's see what happens there. Yeah, we just see him here as Casa. So this is kind of stuff that makes our life at exchanges easier. Now we are going to Belgium sometimes. There we have to cook. Not sure if some of you are doing projects where you're doing artistic residencies and take people to a house in the countryside where there's no mensa, no catering, no canteen, but you have to cook yourself. So we made a tool for that also. That is our cooking sheet. And we can link that sheet to the participant list we just had. And then we can make our menu here of what we are going to cook on each day. We have like 135 recipes in there. So maybe if you want to make, I don't know, you want to make burritos with couscous filling, and you want to make banana cake as dessert for lunch, that's all easy. You just tell it you want to do it, and you tell for whom do you want to serve it. I want to serve this for all because I hope it's vegan. And then the system will just add it to the list of recipes. and it will also import the numbers of people. So you see here import numbers, and those are the exact numbers we just had in the sheet. We had 4 vegans, we had 11 meat eaters, and at some point, Kastian is leaving and we only have 10 meat eaters left. So all these changes, if someone comes late, if someone leaves earlier, are automatically transferred into this list. And it automatically generates a cooking plan for me that has the exact amounts of all the ingredients I need based on the recipes. The recipes are in there, like how much couscous would one person eat, and then it scales up. And the formulas in here are quite complex. So if you look, this is the formula that calculates the amount of peppers or zucchini. That's always the same formula. So we just had to come up with it once. And then also I get my ingredients list and I get my shopping cart, which tells me what I have to buy at a certain market. And I also get my daily fresh purchase list, which tells me this is the stuff I should buy on a certain date, like fresh stuff that doesn't hold up well. And I also can define which are my shopping days. So maybe on Sunday there is no shopping because the stores are closed. We're in Germany. And maybe on the first day I'm too lazy for shopping. And so this is taken into account when this fresh shopping list is made. So here is the fresh bread for the next breakfast. 18th is not a shopping day. We only have 17th and 19th here. And so it becomes red, telling me, okay, there is no fresh bread on Sunday. You have to buy it the day before, and maybe it will not stay so good because it's listed here as only one storage day. So this is stuff that we do with our participant list and with our cooking list. Now I'm back from the project, and maybe I want to keep those persons in my contacts. So I have here, we have a big contact list. And for data protection, I throw out everyone except for one. Our actual sheet, there's like 1,000 contacts or something. And I can import now stuff. So I have to put in the URL of my source sheet. That is this stuff here where I have all the participants. And I put this into my import sheet and I tell it, please take this sheet, and you don't actually need all the stuff behind the slash, only up to there. And then I will probably have to give access, and already has access. So here I can now map stuff. I can also use it to import from address lists that somebody else did in Google Sheet. I can just say, okay, the target sheet has Vornamen for first name, and I map that first name, Nachname for family name, artist name. So this all mapped. And then I get all the persons that I have in my participants list. I get them in here as a import, and I can take them into my main contact list, starting from here, and I should tell it only values. So, of course, computers are, well, we are living in the age of AI, but this is not as intelligent as a human being yet. Normally, it will tell me if there is some doubles. It doesn't recognize that this is the same person because there is still a second name here. But if I take that out, it should soon tell me, oh, you have a double in here. Maybe change that. Also, something that cheats something gets wrong is the formatting. So here you see like it should be age, but there's strange stuff there. I have to tell it, please automatic reformat. Then it gives me actual age. Now I have all the people in here and I have the info. You know, you have a double person in here. Maybe check which has the more recent data, which is more precise. Maybe I take out the old one. And now I can assign them and say, okay, this was international participants. And maybe some of them are also people who might in the future work as freelancers for us. So I can also give them a checkbox for freelancer. And we have all our contacts in there. We have our members in there. And we can use this list also to export like if I want to do a mailing, a big mailing to all our contacts and tell them that we have a big performance, I could use a list here and tell to filter some criteria. And since Gmail only accepts up to 100 addresses in a mail, it makes me blocks of 100 emails here. And I can filter and say, give me people from age to age, give me also international participants. Don't give me, I don't know, don't give me people who are press. And it will filter the contacts. So now I have some contacts in here and I have marked some as freelancers. What we also do with sheets at our organization is that we do our contracts for freelancers with this same system. So I can look into this. I have my sheet to make freelancer contracts, and I have to link it to certain things like to contacts. And now I can make contracts in here for a project. I don't know, maybe the Peer Coach Academy. And I have the names here, which are imported from what I just took over from the participant list into the contacts. So once I have them there, I can just choose one of them and it should now take in all the data. And then I can tell what kind of thing are they doing, workshop on dance with manatees. And they will do it at our space in Cologne. And they will do this on August 13th, maybe. And they will get 50 euro per hour for 6 hours of workshop. Yeah, and that's basically it. And you see all the contact data that I had my participant list before is now automatically here. And now I can generate, maybe the person just speaks English, so I can generate an English contract. I just have to choose a number. Which one did I just make? Number 7. And so here is all the data. There's no tax number, probably because I don't have the tax number in our contacts. But in theory, I could now go and say, make a PDF out of this, and then I have my ready-made contract. And we are doing like, I don't know, maybe 200 contracts each year. So this is a huge time saver because I don't have to copy paste lots of data. I just go into this list and I say, yes, contract number 6 is for the project, the Rules and Rules Experience. And this is the person I want to make the contract with. And then I put in like 5 pieces of information and the thing is ready. This was a big overview about different things that we do. The basic where spreadsheet software comes from is calculating. And the German word for a spreadsheet software is also Tabellenkalkulationsprogramm. So it comes from calculating money, calculating budgets. And I will also show you an example for that. This is our budget sheet for youth exchanges. So what happens here is I can tell what is the start and end of my exchange, and I can tell what is the per person per night rate, full price and reduced price. Could be the same at some places, maybe you pay 55 for anyone, or there could be a difference because like Hague, where we go in summer, they have a cheaper price for young people and for people who are still studying at university. Also, sometimes single rooms are more expensive, and typically we will put our artistic coaches into single rooms, but we will put the participants into shared rooms. So you have price differences there. And maybe you also have some stuff like additional food. Maybe we buy some snacks every day. There's full accommodation, but we still buy some snacks, fruit or something. So per person per day, we spend €1.50 on this extra stuff. And the local group also needs accommodation. They will also sleep there. So these are key facts I give the system. Then I tell the system how many people are coming from which country. And if you're doing this stuff with Erasmus money, then there are like rules for distance spans, like is the distance from the project place to where the person comes from. Is it within 500 kilometers, or is it within 2,000 kilometers, or within 3,000? And depending on that, and on the fact whether you travel by a green means of travel like train, or if you fly, you will get different amounts. So I have put numbers of people here, like from EVOA, there's 2 group leaders, 8 participants. From Estonia, 1 leader, 8 participants and stuff. And then I get a calculation here of the Erasmus funding that we will get, which of course only works if the basic values here are right. It operates with these basic values, like what do I get from Erasmus for 1 day of activity in a certain country, and what are the flat rates depending on travel distance. So I've put in these, and then I get to know, okay, I get for the group from Portugal, Evora, I get 8,970 of program flat rates. I get 4,170 of travel flat rates and 1,000 of organizational support flat rates. And now I can also say, what is my team? So what kind of coaches do I have? Jada, you are in here. I don't know why. Maybe I copied it from the Into project. And some fictional daily rates and days. So how many days will they work? This is a daily rate. This is days. This is the amount the person will get. Does it include travel? And I have different categories here. So is it artistic team? Is it a facilitator? Is it a technician? Is it an external expert? And then here I get my budget that takes mostly the numbers I've entered before and calculates. So here it calculates the Erasmus income, and then I can manually put in, like, maybe do final performance, and there I will collect 1,200 euros in entrance fees. And here are some numbers that are automatically calculated, like all the fees that I just put in here by category are here now summed up. These are the artistic team people, these are the technicians, facilitators, the expert, the travel costs are in there. Other stuff I have to add manually, like how much money will be spent on local transport, how much staff costs do we have for this, PR and printing costs, maybe a bit more. Maybe we have to buy expensive Insta advertising, room rentals in the theater. And then I can see where I stand. So at the moment, I have a massive minus, which is not good. Maybe I should go to a cheaper place where I pay only 45 euro and 60 for those who pay full price. Then I see what does this. Still a bit much money. Well, maybe I cannot put so much staff costs in here. 50 euro seems fair. And maybe I have to work with less team here. Maybe I can only afford 1 artistic coach. Sorry, Signora Alienzale. So where are we now? Still minus 1,000. Maybe it helps if you put in a bit more participants, because then often the EU funding gets higher and the overall budget becomes a bit more comfortable. I have to adapt this also here. We have the travels. And now I see still in the minus. So yeah, you have to think what maybe don't rent equipment, just use your own equipment and spend less on paper and stuff. Oh, we're at minus 93. That gets to something that is more realistic. So this is the stuff that we are dealing with on a daily basis. We are hosting 3 exchanges this year, and we always have to calculate this kind of stuff and see, is it realistic to make the project happen with that budget? And now I would invite you to do something like this too. So it would be great if those who have working cameras could switch back on your cameras for a moment. I will give you a link. I have invited all of you already as collaborators, but maybe it doesn't work, so we have to see if it works. So into the chat, I will put this link. So please click on this link and see if it takes you to this beautiful folder. And if you have access to that folder, you can maybe put the thumbs up thingy which you find somewhere in here, reactions. You can put the thumbs up thingy there. Then I can see that you're in. Is everyone in? Alisa, are you in? Anna, are you in? Do you have access? Alisa has access. Anna also? Okay, that looks good. So soon you will all make your own sheet, but for the moment, let's open the shady shared sheet. There you are. I'll make it a bit bigger also. Those of you who have already worked with Excel know that there's different stuff that you can write in a cell. Like you could put in the text, or you could put in a number. You can tell formatting automatically, then it becomes just a regular number. Maybe you have seen this beautiful meme, the Venn diagram of incel, Excel, and me eating a fig. The overlap is incorrectly assuming something is a date, something that both incels and Excel are famous for, and also people who can't tell the difference between a fig and a date. This is something that happens a lot. So you maybe have something that, no, this is set to English, so it doesn't interpret this as a date. Maybe it interprets this as a date. Yes, it does. So maybe you just make some numbers for stuff, 12.1, 12.2, and suddenly you see up here, it thinks this is a date. So this is something that you have to be careful with. Is something interpreted as a date? Is it actually a date? One thing that you also need to know is that in the settings, the symbol and the file menu, you can set a so-called locale. So the location where you're working, and this has an impact on many things. It has an impact on, will it give you a pound sign or a euro sign if you put in cash amounts, but it also has an impact on, do you use comma or a dot as a decimal separator? So at the moment, we are set to UK. So if I would put in a number like 3, like I do the German way, 3.14, it would not see this as a number. I have to put a point and not a comma. Now it sees it as a number. And again, apparently I made this whole line before cash. So this is a number, this is not a number. And besides numbers, you can also type in a formula. And the formula always starts with a is equal sign. So I could say, tell me 1 plus 1. It's 2. I could also say, tell me the sum of this plus 1. So I just put in the equal sign. I click on this. I say plus 1. And then I get a mistake because this is not a number. If I do the same here, this plus 1, it tells me 4.14. So it is important that Excel or Google Sheets, both work very similar in this, actually recognize what you want to do. And if you get very misleading things, it can be because your numbers are not interpreted as numbers, but as text. Same thing happens when people put in their mobile number. Typically, you'll find mobile numbers that look like this. Because there's a plus in the beginning, and Sheets will interpret this as a positive number. So no plus sign, it's a number. I can calculate it. So tell me this times 2, no problem. But I want to see it as a telephone number. So what I have to do is to put an apostrophe in front. And if I put the apostrophe, then Excel knows this is not a number, it's a text. And it will keep the plus, and it will even, if I put something in here to format the number, it will also keep that. And if I try to calculate with this multiplied by 2, then I'll get an error because parameter 1 of function multiply expects a number, but this is a text and can't be forced to be a number. So numbers, texts, dates, formulae. These are the 4 main things that you can have in an Excel cell. You can also put a time in here. So this is like a certain time, and then I put in another time. And then I can calculate with them and say, how much is this time minus that time? It's 2 hours. That's fine. Now let's put in a date. Let's put in my birthday. Let's say, how much is, oh, sorry, it doesn't. So what you see here is if this stays on the left side, it is not accepted as a number. Number would always move right automatically. In the English format there, this is not interpreted as a date. I need to put minus now the date. If I click on it, I get the calendar. So I could say, what is 15 o'clock minus my birthday? It's a wild date in 1828. Now, why is that? It is because what I see here is 15 o'clock is actually a time and date. And I can show this if I format the cell as show me time and date. And then I'll see, I have to make it wider. If I just put in a time, it interprets it at this time on December 12, 1899. Let's see if this is the same. This is the 1, 2, 3 is for number formats, regular date and time. Yeah, also December 12, 1899. You have to know this if you want to use these numbers and formulas later. If you just put in a time, it's interpreted as very earliest date that Excel can process automatically, which is for some reason December 30, 1899. Oh, and one last thing before we start to make budgets. How much is a day? Or how much is an hour? And Excel always calculates in full days. So if maybe let's make this today. And let's give us a time also. So we started our thing today at 6. And maybe we'll end at 6:30. No, we will end at 7:30. Now I want to know how much is between this. If I take the end minus the beginning, I get something weird again. Show it to me in hours. Duration is a perfect thing. 1:30, that's correct. If I want to calculate this times 2, it's also correct. But if I show it as a regular number, not in this format, I get something weird. This is because internally for Excel or Google Sheets, an hour is 1/24 of a full day. So if I take this here and multiply with 24, I get 3. So this is again correct. Show me this here at a simple number. It says it's 0.06. And if I multiply this with 24, I get 1.5 hours. So internally for Excel and Google Sheets, an hour is always 1/24. And a minute is even worse. A minute is then whatever is 24 times 60. So this is a minute, 1 divided by 1,440. For what do I need this? Maybe I make a plan for my workshop. It starts at 10, warm up. No, people arrive first. Arrival, then I do a warm up at 10:15. Warm up, and then I do session 1 at 10:45. And I have some more items coming later. And I want to be able to quickly adapt this when people arrive later. So I put here a formula, and I want to say, make this the first thing plus 15 minutes. Doesn't work at all. I have to do plus 15 times 1 divided through this strange number. Now it works. So if I want minutes, I always have to multiply them with 1 divided by 1,440. And here again the same. So I want to put a formula in here. I say, give me this time plus 30 minutes. For minutes, I have to do 1 divided by 1440. Now I have it. And the good thing is now people actually arrive at some point and I can start. And actually they arrive at 10:08 and then I can start and I get the calculated times. We use it sometimes. Maybe some of you have played the game of the Baltrum Throne with us. It's a game where groups get tasks always at very specific times. They have 40 minutes for a task, and the next task comes in. But you never know exactly when you start, because first you have the introduction speech, and then people have to go to their rooms. And for this, we use exactly these formulae where we can put in, actually we start at this time, it's 12:07, and then it calculates everything based on the starting time by doing the minutes with 1 divided by 1440. Enough weirdness. Let's do something simple. In 5 minutes, I will ask each one to make your own sheet. And what you will do there is make a simple calculation for some kind of artistic workshop. I will not tell you everything that you have to put in there. You will know better. Depends also on your art form and everything. But I want to teach you some ways of working with this. This could be like you have one sheet where you have your basic values or settings or however you want to call it. Let's call them basic values for the moment. You have one sheet where you have your actual calculation. So for the basic values, you maybe have something like workshop days. How many days has your workshop? Maybe it's a 3-day workshop. Then you have something like my daily rate. How much money do you want to get out of the workshop each day? Maybe you want €300 because you need money and you want to buy a new synthesizer. And then maybe you have a coworker, my coworker's rate, daily rate, and maybe you give that person 220 because you're organizing everything. And I mean, that person drives a Tesla, so has enough money. Maybe that's enough for the moment. Now, to make it easy to work with these numbers later, you can create named ranges. And this is a very, very useful feature to make your life easy. I go under data. I think it will be called data or something like this in your language version. And there is this symbol here. You have to find the symbol. It doesn't matter. So this is named ranges. I think the English term is named ranges between this beautiful symbol here that looks like a bigger skyscraper next to a smaller skyscraper. I don't know. So I can name this stuff. And I say add a range. And so this one is my workshop days. So I can days, maybe like this, ready. So this is my daily rate. My daily rate. Done. And this is my coworker's daily rate. I call it co-daily. Keep some things simple. So now I have these 3 ranges. They are named. And I can now work with the names. And I will do this on my second page. So I'll calculate my workshop. And what I typically do when I calculate something is I have a what column. So what is it that I'm talking about? Maybe my fee. Then I have a single price. That would be what is my fee for 1 day. Then I have a number of items, how many days, and then I have an amount. This would be my standard calculation. I can make these fat using this fat thing up there. So what is my single price? Well, I already have this on the basic values. So I just can go here and say my daily rate. I can also do it this way and write my daily, I just have to write my, then it already suggests me this, my daily rate. So items, so how many are there, or number of items, very long. So how many days do I work? Well, I work the workshop days. So these are 3. Now I could also say I work the workshop days plus I want 3 additional days for preparation and post-processing. Can do the formula like this, workshop days plus 3. Now it's 6. And now the amount, I multiply these two. People often do this, so the AI behind Sheets already suggests this, but I can also do it manually. So I type in is equal this here multiplied by that. Maybe I want to format this as currency and not as euro. Euro is nice. So again, here, this is 1, 2, 3 is always for formatting numbers. And here I have somewhere user-defined currency, and then I can say I want the euro, or I want the Algerian dinar, which is also fine. It looks like this then. You can also do this with a single price column and give it also this one. So now you have your coworkers, my coworkers fee. For that, I already also defined a single price. That is the co-daily. Co-daily, there I take it. And the number is also the number of workshop days. It's not work day, it's workshop days. And the amount, again, would be this multiplied with this. And if I'm lazy, in Excel and Google Sheets, you can pull down formulae. And this helps you make your life easier. So I can just grab this blue dot and pull this down. And automatically, I get the formula of this multiplied by this. And I can also pull this down like for 3 lines. There's the 0, 0. But if I put anything in here, then it will give me the result. So maybe you also want snacks, and you want to spend like 30 euro per day on snacks. Again, multiplied with the workshop days. And then you get the 90. And in the end, maybe you want a total, like that. And you can calculate this by saying, also suggests it already because it's so clever, sum. And then you mark the first one, you hold shift, you mark the last one, and then you get the sum. And now if you want to make it fancy, you could also like put a line here. So you see, there's your sum. And this is a very efficient way of calculating because you can easily change things. So maybe you know that you are doing the workshop for some organization and you know they will only give you 2,000 euro. So 2,550 is too much. So what can you do? Maybe you just need 2 days for preparation and post-processing. And it's still 250 too much. So maybe you just spend 20 a day on snacks. And now it's still too much. And then you have to put down your daily rate, maybe to down to 75, and your coworker only gets 200. Come on. So now we're already close to the 2,000 you will actually get. And you still have to adapt a bit. Maybe 260 would do. Yeah, now you're actually already, you can add creative materials for 40 euro once. Perfect, 2,000. And so I would now invite all of you to do something like this in the shared folder. In this one, there's a shady shared sheet. Please create your own thing. There's a new button up here, and you can say, make a new Google Sheet. Yes, I want to make it here. And then you can give it a name. And maybe give it your name. That makes it easier if you have questions and I want to help you, then you can. So maybe if you are Simone, clone from Cologne. No, I'm actually not. I'm actually Sasha. So you make your own sheet. Let's, yeah, do it. Do it now. There is a Simone sheet. So create your own sheet and make a calculation using this procedure that I just showed you. Like you make one tab for your basic values that your calculation is based on, and you make a second tab where you actually calculate based on description, single item, number of items, total amount that you get by multiplying the single price and this thing. I'll give you like 15 minutes, and if you have questions, just come here in the room and ask me, or write it in the chat, also fine. If you want, you can go crazy with formatting using these lines here, making lines fat even. Give me a fat line up there.
Struggling with the named ranges, because if I enter in the calculation the equal sign and then I go on my daily rate,
doesn't work. I'm checking first your named ranges. You have 3 named ranges, and you have to put first the equal sign. So
yeah.
So the formula has to start with the equal sign, and you can write the text like my daily rate or something.
Can I not just click on my daily rate?
You can also click on it, I think, but you can also just start. When you click on it, it takes it translates it into the target where it takes the number from. But if you write it, then it's really in there, and then it's easier to work with the formula.
Okay, you have to write it.
Okay, then maybe let's wrap it up, because actually we don't have so much time left. Simone, did you make a calculation?
Yes, so for me it worked fine, but I think it's because I know the basics still from that point on.
So what we've done now is like a basic calculation, and this can already be useful. I would like to do something where you maybe have not just one workshop, but you have like 2 workshops, and they are a bit similar, but also have some differences. So you could do something like this next week, where we have maybe not a single price, maybe we just have a number of items, and then we have amounts for each workshop. Amount workshop 1, amount workshop 2, and the total amount. But I would also like to get into stuff like conditional formatting. That is like in Excel, you can just make the number, format the number in a way that it gets red when it becomes negative. In Google Sheets, you need to do something like I did here by doing a conditional formatting and setting up a rule saying, I want everything in here, this area, I want to become red as soon as this is smaller than 0. And you can use this conditional formatting for quite some things, like the birthdays becoming orange that you saw in the beginning was something like this. And another thing that we will work on is data validation. And this is a very helpful thing because it gives you the drop downs that I showed you like before in our tool for making contracts. Like to have something where you can just choose something from a list that you've created somewhere else before, and then you will automatically, for instance, get data loaded into the sheet based on which name you choose. You get their specific address, their specific email. This is something that can be very useful if you want to deal with organizational processes. If you have like a list of collaborators that you often work with, and you have a sheet where the names of your collaborators and their contact data and stuff, and you want a quick way to get all this data into some target sheet, then this kind of selection process is very helpful. And it works with the so-called data validation. And you can also use data validation, like if you create a sheet and you want users to get feedback if they put in something that is not a date, it can tell them this is not a date, put in a correct date. So you can automate these kind of things also. So our official time is already up. We started a bit later, but I will also wrap it up now. One last thing, I would encourage you to use the help function in here. So there is the help, this question mark in a circle, help for sheets, and it's quite good. Me, I cannot remember everything. Like I know lots of formulas and functions, but like if I have to count in a list, I have to count all telephone numbers from Germany or something. There's a count if formula, and I never remember how it actually works. So I can just go in here and it gives me a reminder, how does this function actually work? It will do it in your language, in German in my case. But I often use this help. It's rather good. And of course, you can also Google. These days, you will get an AI answer. It is not always correct. I recently had a difficult question and I typed it in Google. I got an AI answer, which was a good direction, but it was wrong. And I know Excel well, so I went to sheets, so I could say, okay, this looks good, but there is a function unique is missing. So I added unique and then it worked. But like everywhere in life, don't trust AI too much. But there's also lots of good blogs where Excel and Google Sheets are explained. And typically you can just type in G Sheet, maybe how to use filter with R, and then you will get in this case a correct answer from the AI, but there's also like blogs and forums where this stuff is discussed, and I consult them a lot. So I don't know all of this by heart. I have built some incredibly complex sheets which I don't understand myself if I look into the formulas, but I can reconstruct it and I can ask the blogs if I've forgotten some functionality. It's just good it helps if you memorize the name of something. If I have 100 names and want to put them in one big chunk so I can put them in the credits of my movie, it helps that I know, text join. The command is text join. Text join is something that I can use to join together small bits of text and add commas or semicolons in between. And if I remember that how it's called, then it's much easier because then I can just go in here and say, help find the text join formula for me and remind me how exactly it does work. So here I get text join and it tells me, yeah, you can combine this kind of things. Like I could, if I want a semicolon followed by a blank space between all the names, I would use this formula here, and this would be the range where I have all my names. So use the help. It is actually helpful, and don't take the search in menus. You will not need that most of the time. You will need this help for Google Sheets, the question mark in a circle. That's what I have for you for today. Any questions, comments, complaints from your side? Maybe everyone who has a working camera can switch it back on so we get together once again to say goodbye. Or maybe for a final comment, if you have one. You can also put up a wish for the next session, if you want to join the next session, and if there's something that you specifically want to know or learn.
Maybe for the next time, some different kind of formulas, how to write formulas and how to read some of them, something around that.
Yeah.
Because I think I understood how it works today. Some things I will do it later and complete the task, but I think it will be useful to just learn how to read some.
Yeah, there are, of course, like 10,000s of different functions and stuff you can use, but there are some basics that are helpful. And I think maybe something like if this is, then do that is often helpful. And combining the if with and or is also helpful. And the filter function is also very helpful, which you can use to get like, you have a long list, names, nationalities, and you just want all the Italians, then you can just say filter, and I will show you how this works. Okay, then I wish you a beautiful Sunday and a beautiful week, and let's see when is the next session. I actually don't know it by heart.
I think it's next Sunday.
Thank you, Sasha.
Possibility. Yeah, it's next Sunday, actually. So welcome again in 1 week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sasha.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.